Hello everyone, happy Friday and welcome to the Mylio Photos coffee break. My name is Angela and today we're going to be talking about QuickFilters, which is a really cool tool in Mylio Photos to help you narrow down a large result into something smaller so you can find specific things really easily. Before we dive into today's topic, I do want to let you know that we've got a busy couple of weeks coming up. So I know this week was a little quiet. We only had one Q&A and we have coffee break today. We missed yesterday's Q&A because it was a federal holiday. Next week we'll be back on schedule with our Tuesday and Thursday live Q&As, and Friday we'll have our regular coffee break, which will be a follow-up to today's session on quick collections, which are a saved group of quick filters. So we're going to go in depth on quick filters today, and then next week we'll talk about quick collections. I also want to let you know we have a lot of webinars coming up for you. As I said, next week's going to be busy. On Monday, we are going to be hosting a town hall event. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific, and we'll be getting that information posted, the registration, everything up this afternoon in the community, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up that that's coming. And what that's going to be is a forum for you to hear from our head of product, learn about what's coming for Mylio Photos, both in this very upcoming, very soon release. So you're going to get a preview of Mylio Photos 24.6. And you're going to have a chance to ask questions and find out what the future of Mylio Photos looks like. So that's going to be a really fun event. I envision it being pretty conversational. You'll get, like I said, an overview of what's coming in this next release, and then lots of opportunities to ask questions. So if you have questions for our product team and you'd like to know more about the plans for Mylio's future, make sure you come to this event, and that's going to be on Monday. On Tuesday, we're going to have a partner webinar with Artifacts. So if you missed the one that was earlier this month, we have partnered with a company called Artifacts. They are really cool service. And we want to show you how you can organize your stuff in Mylio and then artifact it on their website. That's going to be Tuesday afternoon. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's co-hosted by me, JC, our head of customer success. And we're also going to have Ellen from Artifacts to show you and talk about what Artifacts is all about and how Mylio and Artifacts can work together in a really beautiful way. And then the following week on July 2nd, we're going to have a What's New in Mylio Photos 24.6. So if everything goes according to plan, I think you can probably guess a window of time that you're probably going to be getting the release of 24.6. So it is imminent. We are putting the final touches on it as we speak, and we're really excited to show you what we've been working on for the last several months. So that's going to be happening on July 2nd, and that'll be an in-depth webinar where, again, we're going to go into everything that's in this release, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions as well. But the town hall one next week, I think, is going to be really cool. And like I said, you're going to have an opportunity to talk directly to our product team and learn more about what we've got going on. So hope you guys can join us for one, if not all of those sessions. They're going to be great. With that, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, which is quick filters. So we're going to talk about different ways that you can find your photos in Mylio Photos, and we're going to focus in on quick filters because there's 3 different tools inside of Mylio for searching and finding. Quick filters, I think, are one of the most powerful, so that's what we're going to focus in on today. So let's go ahead and get started. What you're going to learn, let's see if I can get my presentation to forward there. There we go. What you're going to learn is how Mylio Photos recognizes different information about your media. We'll go over the difference between search, filter, and find. And then you'll learn how to stack, exclude, and link quick filters, how smart tags play a role in quick filters and how to adjust the AI sensitivity of those smart tags. And then we'll give a quick look at how to save a set of quick filters as a quick collection. So first off, we're going to talk a little bit about dynamic indexing. And this is a process that happens the moment you tell Mylio Photos, here's some new media. It's going to go through and it's going to scan your photos for recognizable objects. This is going to be the AI smart tagging. Mylio recognizes over 1,000 different scenes, objects, and activities, and all of that gets logged during this dynamic indexing. It's also looking for things with optical character recognition, which is basically meaning it can read text in photos. It's doing face detection, so looking for those recognizable faces. It's looking at all of the metadata that's already a part of your picture. So anything that might have come from the camera, as well as anything you might have added in other programs such as ratings, flags, titles, and copyright. And finally, if it has GPS location information, it is scanning and indexing that as well. All of this comes together to make Mylio really, really smart and able to look for very specific things in your library. So from there, what happens is you have the option to search, filter, or find. And these are 3 different things you can use to look for different media inside of Mylio Photos. First off, we have dynamic search, which is where you click that magnifying glass in the upper left corner. And this is meant to be a very broad search across your entire library. It's its own unique view, and you go into search and it searches everything. QuickFilters help you narrow down once you're in a specific view. So they work in something like all photos. It also works in your folders view, and it's going to filter whatever subset of your library you're looking at. So if you're looking at all photos, it's going to filter everything. If you're looking at a specific folder, it's going to filter that specific folder. So it's a much more narrow and precise way of looking. And then finally, we have the find. And this is a really cool tool. If you're in something like People View and you want to jump to a specific person, you can just do a Command or Control F on your keyboard. It pulls up the find window and type in a person's name and it will jump directly to them. Or if you have multiple people by that name, let's say you have several people in your library named John, it's going to go to the first one and let you click through to every single one of those, and then you can go ahead and choose which one you like. So 3 different tools that are very powerful independently, but when you use them together, they're even better. And what I mean by that is you can use dynamic search to do your broad searching, QuickFilters to narrow it down, and then find within that view to find something very specific. Today we're really going to narrow in on the QuickFilters, but the other ones are also incredibly powerful. So what are QuickFilters? These are ways to narrow down the clutter in your library and filter based on certain criteria. And these include ratings, flags, albums, categories, people, and so much more. You can see here in the screenshot, we have a ton of different categories of QuickFilters here that you can choose from. And within each of these, if you expand these arrows, there are more subsets underneath them. So there's a ton of different ways that you can filter through your media to find very, very specific things. So once you're in there, you want to maybe customize this and wonder how you get into it. So what you're going to do is you're going to click the funnel icon in the left sidebar and then use those arrows that I just pointed out right here to expand and collapse different groups. One of the quick shortcuts that I love is you can press the / key, and that's going to collapse all of those things back up. So if you're digging down into a lot of those sections and you just want to clean things up and get them collapsed back together, click that / key and that's going to just shrink those back down. Let me show you real quick what that looks like. So here's my Mylio Photos library. I am in the All Photos view right now, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the filter. So this little filter here in the bottom left corner, that opens up my QuickFilters. And you can see I have some things open here. And as long as I'm not in that search field, so let me just go ahead and click out of that, and I click that / key, you'll notice it just collapsed everything down. So that's how you go ahead and navigate through here. You can go ahead and expand or contract these. And if you have a bunch of things expanded and you're like, okay, I want to just tidy that up, click that / key and it shrinks everything back down. I love that keyboard shortcut and I find it very, very helpful. You can also customize a few things here in the QuickFilters view by enabling and disabling different filter groups. So if you never use categories, you can hide that. Or for example, if you don't use events, you can hide that. You can also turn on solo mode, which means that only one section will be open at a time. Let me show you those 2 things really quick. So here, once you have your filters open, there is a gear icon right here at the top. And solo mode, like I said, it lets you have one section open at a time. If you turn this off, and then go down here, you can expand multiple selections, these top level ones. And again, it can get really long and kind of tedious. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that / again. This way, if I turn solo mode on, if I open up by smart tag, and then I go down and open up by keyword, you can see it closed up by smart tag. That's what solo mode is doing. And it's just a tidy way to navigate, but you can turn that off if you prefer. The other thing is you can turn off certain categories. So for instance, if you never use events in Mylio Photos and you don't want to see that there, you can uncheck it and it will hide it from the list. And you can always go in here and turn it back on later should you decide you want to add that. So if you're looking around in Mylio and you're not seeing a filter type that you're expecting to see, make sure you go up here to this gear and make sure it's turned on. Because if you go through and turn a few things off, Later on, you might forget that you did that. So this is where you can check which categories are available and make sure that they're all turned on. The other thing you can do in that menu is refresh the quick filters to reflect new metadata. So if you've recently done an import, Mylio will need to do a refresh. So this little refresh quick filters up here will do that. Click that button and it will refresh the data. So I do recommend, if you want, you can hide those filters you don't use for a cleaner UI. And this just makes it a little bit cleaner and easier to navigate. So let's go ahead and move on to finding things using the search box. Now, looking through that long list of filters, to me, that feels a little bit daunting. There's so much there. It's part of the, it's the blessing and the curse that is Mylio Photos, right? We have so many options and so much customization. At times that can be a little bit overwhelming. So we have a search field right here at the top. And this allows you to type things in and it auto-completes. So as you type in a word, it's gonna start to give you everything that has that word in it. And then you can go down and choose. So let me jump over here to the application. And let's just use that example I had in the screenshot, dog. As I type that in, I can then go ahead and use my arrow keys to go down the list. And let's say I just want to use my keyword dog. So you see there's a couple of different dogs here. We have dog keyword, which is the little key icon here, and it says by keyword, or by dog smart tag. So these are two different metadata fields that have two different bits of information that really have some level of overlap. But let's say I just want to find everything I've keyworded dog. I can go ahead and click on that, and that's going to go ahead, actually I can just hit return on my keyboard, and that's going to go ahead and jump me to that particular keyword. If I like it, I can go ahead and pin it, and then I can also add other keywords or other smart tags that I want. I could even go ahead and say I want everything with the dog keyword and I want my dog smart tag. So let's go ahead and do that. And there we go. Now I have both of them up there. So you see you can add multiple things. Use those arrow keys when you type something in. You can use your arrow keys to go up and down that list and then hit enter to jump to the results. And this really does save you a ton of time scrolling through those long lists. I find this search to be extremely helpful. And you can type in a name, you can type in a category. All of these different parameters will pop up in that list and just make your life a lot easier. So filtering in action. What you do when you go into QuickFilters is you can click on one of these different filters to apply it. If you just click on the name, it's going to give you kind of a preview of what's up there. So you're going to see up here in the left, that pill, when it's in preview mode, is going to be in black. Once you click the pin, it's going to be in blue, which makes it persistent, and then you can add other filters. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like really quick. I'm going to go ahead and clear out that search, and let's go ahead and type in cat. All right, we're going to do the smart tag here, and you can see right now it's up here in black because I'm auditioning it. And I could say, you know, maybe I didn't mean cat, I misspelled it, I meant camel. Okay, so that allows you to go ahead and audition different results. If I want to go ahead and make it persistent and say, okay, I want cat, let's go ahead and pin that. And then I'm going to go ahead and collapse the list, and I want to go, let's go back here to smart tag, and I want to go down to the visual properties, and I want to find all the orange cat photos. I can go to visual properties and colors, and let's say, okay, let's hit purple, for instance, and that's just auditioning it. You can see there's a purple cast in those pictures. That wasn't what I wanted, so let's go ahead and choose orange. You can see it's up here, it's being auditioned, and then you can go ahead and click it to make it persistent. So those are just a couple of the tips for using these. Now, the next thing I wanted to point out is that you can link smart filter or quick filters across views. So when you switch between different views, if I were to say, go here to my calendar right now, you'll notice that orange and cat are still listed. And that's because I have my link on. If I turn that off and then go back to my different views, that means it's not going to be persistent. So let's see, turned it off. Oh, looks like something's going amiss here. So when that link is off, it should only apply to the certain view that you started from. So it looks like I discovered a little bug here. I'm gonna have to take a closer look at that, make sure that's not happening in the latest version. But that's what that link is for, is to make this particular search show up across the board, as opposed to being in just a single view. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. and that's stacking filters. And we've already done a little bit of this, but you can combine multiple pin filters to get really precise results on specific things. So for example, I can find all of my 4 and 5-star photos from this year. So let's go ahead and jump back over here to Mylio, and I'm going to clear that out, and we're going to start fresh. So I'm going to go ahead and click that / key, and I'm going to just type in 2025. And that gives me all of these dated things here, and then I can say by folder 2025, and there's by albums, and I'm wanting by date. So there we go, by date, year 2025. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and pin that. So now the next thing I want to do is go up here by rating, label, and flag. And I want to pick all of my 4-star and 5-star images. So now I have a set of images that I can go ahead and find the best things from a specific time period. And by stacking these, meaning that I have multiple pills up here and each one adds to the other, that makes this search much more precise, and I can really narrow down my library in very specific ways. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. One thing I get asked quite frequently is, what is the logic behind the stack? Is Mylio using an and or an or? And it gets a little tricky when you really start to think about it, but in most cases for QuickFilters, the way it stands today is it uses and logic for most things. There are a few places where it uses or, but it's really kind of behind the scenes what the developers felt was the most useful for that particular thing. In the future, we are going to have the option up here for you to have and or and select it. That's not going to be in this next release. It'll probably be in the one following that. So probably several months down the road, but it is something that we're working on, and it's going to make this even more useful. But for now, consider that this is an and logic. If you want to be really precise about a specific logic, that's what this by custom category is for. And you can go ahead and type in a very specific query and have that saved as a quick filter. So that's something to keep in mind. If what you're expecting to get up here isn't giving the results, it might be because it's using the and not or. And you can specify that here under by custom if you need to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next slide here. Excluding and inverting. When you have quick filters up here at the top, there might be cases where you want to exclude a certain category. So in this example, I wanted to find all of the birds in my library that were not hummingbirds. So what you can do is you can long press on a touchscreen device or right click and get this menu that says include or exclude. And so in this case, I chose exclude. You can see it has a line through it. And that lets me, again, further search with precision. So let's go ahead and do a quick demo of that. I'm going to go ahead and say, I want to find everything in my library that is cats. So we're going to go ahead and type in cat. We'll go ahead and do the smart tag on that. And I want to find everything that's cats that is a Siamese cat. So my mom has a Siamese. Now what if I'm going, okay, I want to see everything that's not a Siamese in my library. I want to exclude beautiful Chris from this particular search. And I want to find all the cats that are not Siamese. Again, I can right click on this and say exclude. And now it's going to show me all the cats that are not Siamese cats. So that's how the exclude works. It's really handy. And again, just lets you search with additional precision. The other thing you can do is invert the results. So it's going to show you everything except those current results. So in this case, if I inverted this result, it's going to show me everything that's not a cat except for Siamese cats. And that's what this button here is right here. I can go ahead and click that, and you can see it pulls up everything else in my library that is not those things. And I'm sure if I search this list, I could probably find some pictures of Chris because, again, it's doing the opposite of what we have listed here. So it inverted the results. So again, another way to search with precision. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of creative thinking outside the box to figure out what the correct search is to find a specific thing, but it's really quite flexible. So hopefully that's useful to you guys, and that helps you understand a little bit more of what you can do with that. Now let's talk a little bit about smart tags, and these are the AI object recognition that's built into Mylio Photos. So you're going to find things like sunset and dog and group and things like that. And those are under the by smart tag section. And under this section, you can actually adjust the AI sensitivity to get more precise results or get more results. So it's a spectrum, and you can say, to the left, I want it to be very, very accurate. It's going to give me fewer results, but I'm definitely going to know it's that thing. Or you can move that slider to the right, and it's going to give you far more results, but they might not be quite as precise. So let's go ahead and jump over here. I'm going to go ahead and clear out that particular search, and let's go ahead and take a look here at lion. All right, so I've got some lions in my library here. That's cool. I can click on this gear icon, and here's that slider that I was just talking about. This way I can go ahead and make it more accurate. Go ahead and pull that down to the left, click apply. And they got so precise it wasn't even sure that those were there. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that sensitivity again. I can click default in the middle, put it back and apply. There's some more. Or we can click it one more time, move that slider all the way to the right just to see what happens. Click apply. You can see it added a couple more results, but probably not quite as precise. So you can get an idea of how those work. So AI is a spectrum of results, and it's going to give you a percentage accuracy on any given thing. So it's up to you to decide how accurate you want the AI to be. AI is not perfect, but it does a lot of times get you closer. So I could go here and be like, all right, what was I taking pictures of this day when I was photographing this guy? I can jump to that folder and I can see, if I clear out my other filters, okay, looks like I was at the zoo and there's all of the animals I photographed that day, and there might even be some additional lions in there. So that's a great way to go ahead and make use of those smart tags and be able to customize that a little bit further for your use. All right, so just a few keyboard shortcuts to keep in mind that make using QuickFilters easier. If you want to open and close the QuickFilters sidebar on the left, you can click the F key on the keyboard, and that's just going to quickly open and close that, and go ahead and do F. And you can see it's opening and close that right there. It's trying to go into my search. So let me go ahead and close that up because I'm in folders view. And let's go ahead and clear out that. And again, if I hit F on the keyboard, you can see it just opens and closes that right there. Collapse those filter groups. So if you get a whole bunch of those sections open and you want to quickly collapse it, use that backslash. If you want to exclude a filter, you can do you hold down your Alt or Option key. So if you don't have a right click option, click on Alt or Option and then click on it, and you can choose to exclude. That X on a pill lets you remove the pill. Excuse me. And then the X on the left clears all your pills. So again, if we go ahead and put a couple pills up here, that X here clears it, and the X here on the left clears everything. All right, and then that link icon, there was something weird going on with that. The link wasn't working, but this is supposed to make it so you can view that same set of filters across multiple views. And when it's off, you shouldn't be able to do that. Get a drink of water here real quick. All right. So those are the keyboard shortcuts. And just a quick preview here of next week's coffee break, where we talk about quick collections. This is where you can save a set of quick filters that you can come back to over and over again. So this is a really great way to say, I want to find all of my print ready photos or my best of a specific year. What you do is you're going to go here into Mylio. You're going to go ahead and add in the filters that you want. And let's just say this is something I want to go back to over and over. Go up here to the quick collection menu and say save as new quick collection. And that will pop it here into this list, and you can go back to that particular list anytime. Now we'll go more in depth on this next week, and I'll show you some really cool use cases for this, things you might want to do. But that gives you a little preview of what to expect. So with that, I do want to do a quick little wrap up here, and just to let you know that dynamic indexing is the core of what makes this possible. Is Mylio, when you import pictures, it does a very thorough scan of pretty much every parameter of your image that it can think of. So everything from the EXIF data from your camera, that's your dates, camera settings, things like that, any metadata you added from other programs. It does the AI object recognition, your OCR, all of those things. That's what happens when you first bring media in. So if you've ever wondered why things are a little slow during that first import, that's why. It's because it's all happening there at the beginning. Once that's done, search in Mylio is so incredibly fast. Quick filters help you narrow down a larger set of media. So typically I start with dynamic search, and then I narrow it down with quick filters, and then to find a specific thing, you use the find tool. When you're using quick filters, make sure that you know that you can pin, stack, and use smart tags for very precise results, and adjust that AI sensitivity as necessary. Make sure you customize your quick filters to match your needs. If there's a category you don't use, just hide it. Just remember you can go back in there and turn those on at any time. So if you see that something is missing that you expect to see, maybe you're looking at a screenshot in the manual and you're like, hey, why don't I have that? Might be because it got turned off. And then be sure to attend next week's coffee break session, and we'll go into quick collections and I'll show you some of my use cases for saving those sets of filters. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. With that, I'd like to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. Let me go ahead and switch here to the next screen. If I can do that, come on. Keynote is being really, really iffy these days. All right, we'll just go ahead and leave it there. And let me take a look at your questions. I see that Lori's been posting a lot of links, which is awesome. Thank you so much, Lori. It's always good to have you. Lanny asked when the next Mylio version is going to be sent out. We are not sharing the exact date quite yet, but if you come to that town hall meeting that is on Monday, we'll be publishing the link to that in the community here this afternoon. Come to that on Monday and hopefully we can give you a better idea. And we're also going to be having that What's New webinar on July 2nd. So that hopefully gives you an idea, but we're not sharing the exact date just yet. All right. And Steve, I'm glad this was helpful to you. I know you come to these sessions quite a lot, so it's always nice when some of the people who've been with us for a while find these sessions useful. I always appreciate hearing that. All right. Are there any other questions today? You can go ahead and use that raise hand icon there at the bottom of the screen. You can type it into the chat. And it doesn't have to be on today's topic. It can be on anything Mylio related. I'm happy to help with whatever you might be struggling with or whatever you'd like to learn a little bit more about today. Anything? And thank you all to everybody who's answering the survey. Those are really helpful. Your feedback goes a long way and it lets us know what you guys want to learn, lets us know what you're struggling with. Really just valuable information so we can better assist you. Edward, you've got a question. Okay. Okay. So if you click on it in Mylio and delete it, it won't let you delete it, or it brings it back. Do you get an error message? Interesting. So if you go into Mylio and you find a folder, let's go ahead and go to a folder view here. Oops, there we go. And let me go here into my Instagram. Not that one. Let's do photos. So if I go ahead and click on a folder here, I should be able to just click on the little trash can icon here on the right and delete it, or click delete on my keyboard, and that should get rid of it. It's right over here on the very far right side. Are you seeing that? Let's see here. It's like, so, okay, all the way over here on the right. So for instance, there's this folder here and it's got 2 subfolders in here. This is some stuff that I think we did Q&A and I just hadn't cleaned it up. So I want to delete this empty folder. Again, I can just hit the delete key on my keyboard and it should go away. Again, or hit that trash can and it goes away. You can do that as well. Okay, so when you click delete folder, you don't get an error message, it just doesn't go away. Have you checked up here under your notifications, the bell icon, to see if anything popped up here, any errors? So the one reason that is really common that folders can't be deleted or Mylio won't let you delete a folder is because there's something in that folder in the file system that Mylio can't show you. Some sort of unsupported file. So what I would do is right click on that folder and reveal in Finder and reveal in External. Take a look at that folder on all of your different devices. See if there's something in there that Mylio is not showing you. So that's usually the only reason a folder can't be deleted, is Mylio protecting you from deleting something that it can't show you. You're welcome. All right, and let's see here. Any other questions? Looks like a question from Steve. Will the Artifacts collaboration be free? So with Artifacts, I believe they do have so the webinar is free to attend. Their service, they have a paid service, but I believe you can artifact a handful of things for free, so you can try it out, see if it's something that you like. Their price is actually very reasonable, and what they do I think is really pretty cool. So if it fits with what you're wanting to do, that's awesome. If it's not a service that you're wanting to invest in right now, that's totally fine too. But it is a cool service, and I do encourage you to check out what it's capable of and some of the use cases. JC and I show you what some of our uses are for it, and hopefully it'll spark your imagination and get you going. All right, any other questions today? All right, well, if there is nothing else, do want to let you know that next week we have live Q&A on Tuesday and Thursday. We'll have coffee break on Friday. Again, we'll be talking about quick collections as a follow-up to today's session. And then we've got several webinars coming up for you. Monday will be that town hall with a preview of Mylio Photos 24.6. On Tuesday, we will have the Artifacts in Mylio webinar. And the following week on July 2nd, we will have a What's New in Mylio Photos 24.6 webinar. So I hope you can join us for one or all of those sessions. They're going to be fun as usual. I want to thank you guys again for joining me. Always appreciate having each and every one of you here. I want to wish you a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.